Hey guys, XJ9's here, and today's going to be a combat beta update for little review. I'm going to try to make this fast. I'm probably going to go test this on Twitch after. I don't really care if you watch it, I'm just kind of saying. But overall, it's a pretty okay. Some of the things I don't agree with, because I already read this, so let's just go right into this. So, first off, damage potential. To hit a target, you now only need 1% hit chance instead of 25% hit chance. This makes a lot more sense because if you see 25% hit chance and you're always splashing, or 24% hit chance and you're always splashing, that doesn't make sense to a player. So as long as you have 1% hit chance, you will hit the monster. If you have 0%, obviously you won't hit. So that's a very good change in terms of clarity. So I don't think there's any harm in this. I mean, the only potential things that might come out of it, like I can think of right away, or rather, is the fact that you can do Rex Bait Sharks with any style now. Like that you've used Necromancy, you can hit still and do damage. So I think at Rex Matriarch is like 18% hit chance, so you do 18% of the damage potential. I'm not sure if that's even going to be good or not, but I mean, hey, maybe. I mean, your conjures do full damage, so maybe if you do a little bit of damage, you'll do good. So, pretty interesting. Maybe I'll test out on the beta, Rex Matriarch with Necromancy or something funny. Critical strike damage. This is a big change. So, level 90, uh, this will apply to all styles except Necromancy. The crit damage was 60%. Now it's 35% damage. So that just means when you crit, you're only going to deal 35% more damage instead of 60. So that's again, not they lost 25% of the crit damage potential. Not like, don't be smarty with me with that. And Necromancy got nerfed with this change as well. Necromancy had a 75% crit damage. Now it has 50% crit damage. That's a quite substantial nerf. I'm probably going to test out some Necromancy too, because I actually like Necromancy a lot. So we'll see how this nerf affects Necromancy. The one pro of this change, though, again, is this lowers the reliance on crit builds. So I think that's good. One change I actually think was pretty interesting and probably good is increase the damage of guaranteed critical strike abilities such as Shadow Tendrils and Smoke Tendrils as they were affected by changes. I agree, yeah, these abilities are like, do damage yourself, and no one really uses them, honestly. Like, Range doesn't even use these abilities, as far as I know, so, yeah. Another big change was Critical Strike Adrenaline buff. So, with Meteor Strike, Incendiary Shot, and Tsunami, instead of getting 10% adrenaline every critical strike, you'll only get 6%. This is quite a substantial nerf, mostly to ranged and I would even say magic, because magic is gonna have issues casting the staff of orbital special, like spamming it. I think this helps combat spamming special attacks. I don't think they like that. Like, I think, let's just say staff of orbital special is good. It's probably good to, like, okay, I use conk, wild magic, staff of orbital conk, omni power. I don't think they want you just to spam the staff of the staff of Orbital, not the fracture staff of Orbital, the regular staff of Orbital, the Orbital battle staff, I think it's called. And just, like, so I like this change because, again, the big issue they were talking about is on a Reddit thread was they don't like how people are just spamming special attacks all day with all this adrenaline. I will say I would rather them just rework these abilities and honestly just get rid of this completely, and, like, obviously, like, buff things such as the fracture staff of Orbital because it relies on the crit chance and adrenaline and such. Uh, but they're kind of scared because they keep on, like, again, they say, oh, players like variants. I actually don't like variants because it's kind of funny because when the staff of Armor was made, the fracture staff of Armor, I complained about the variants. Everyone said it was fine, and then they complained later. So this is another change where people might complain about it later and just say the critical strike adrenaline buff doesn't feel good, so why not just remove it and rework it? But we'll see. One of my biggest issues with this, like, I think I might even like this if you use Tsunami, it only benefited magic attacks. If you use the Surge Shot, it only benefits range. And with Meteor Strike, obviously benefits only melee. I actually like that change a lot, and because it's like these people, like the people who use this, and like you use a Tsunami and then go to range and then use an Incendiary Shot. There's so few. It's like, why are we balancing the game around them? You don't balance the game around a player. It's like, look at League of Legends. You don't balance the game because your favorite player plays Azir or plays LeBlanc. Like, this is not how you balance. Like, you have to make the correct decision. They even say this is bad for the game, but we don't want to remove it. It's like, Bro, just do it. Like, I'm not joking. I actually feel like this is gonna be way more interesting. Special attacks can be way more interesting, more powerful, more impactful if you just get rid of the spam ability. Like, we'll see how spammable they are with this change, but like they'll still be spammed somewhat. So I don't know. We'll see. It just causes the essence of finality of reliance. So you have to own like 10 essence of finality plus like even like 14 if you have like all the styles. It's like awful. Frex Staff of Armor. New passive, Shattered Siphon. Now generates echoes of time when critical striking. At 5 stacks, launch a time strike. Values matching the special attack. Disabled while instability is active. So I'm assuming when it says it's active is if you special attack, this doesn't work. But if you aren't special, this will work. I don't see how this really benefits people too much because everyone spams conk, like critical strikes are so strong. However, I will say because they nerfed critical strike damage, conk greater conk might not be as strong. And greater sonic wave is a great ability. It does fine. It's just in the current live game, the issue is that if you use greater conk, each additional hit does more damage based on like your potion level. In this beta, it's different. So, it might be good. It might be actually good to like if you're using fractional staff armor. If you use you spam your greater conk and wild magic and stuff like that's good when you're using special. It might be good to use the staff though when your staff armor is on cooldown though for the again these echoes of time. I'm not sure if you lose the echoes of time if you swap to your wand and core and back to your staff or if it just keeps it while you're in combat. I also don't know if you can conk then like wild magic and then swap to your staff, get crits and then it adds stacks. I don't know. That's something I need to test. It's pretty interesting. I don't think I have a big issue with this because it's mostly about staff camping. And again, I would like it if you could use the staff armor more. If anything, I would have wanted to rework this item and made it so the special attack you couldn't swap it just like the Bull Ass Guardian. I'm not joking. I think EOF was a big mistake in the game, and Jagex even acknowledges that it was a mistake. And it's like, bro, you took kind of a long time. Greater Fury. Increased bait. They increased the base damage to correctly act as a greater variant of Fury. I think Fury was doing more damage with 2 hits because of poison and stuff. Average damage was increased from 105% to 120%. Ability damage, obviously. They replaced the guaranteed critical strike effect. So now when you use this ability, there's a 25% chance for your next melee attack to critical strike, and a 100% chance if Greater Fury critical strikes. I think this is also a good change. I think always crediting was kind of weird because in your mind, it was just weird because I don't like it when it's like I have to use this ability every 2 cycles. Like I just don't like that type of gameplay. I like it when it's more situational and more like build oriented. So I think this is much better. Like if you're going for a crit build, then you probably want to use Greater Fury more. If you're not going for a crit build, you probably don't want to use it too much, but maybe throw it in here and there. Uh, Ruby Bolts got a change, which I actually think I like. So they increased the damage scaling. It now scales between 25% to 125% ability damage based on your target's current life points. I think right now, but previously in the beta, it was 50% more ability damage, and I think at all points it was just not good compared to Onyx, Hydrix, and maybe even Emerald, but I'm not sure about that. But it wasn't really that good. So now Ruby Bolts are back to I like this. You're supposed to use it for the first like 10, 40, maybe even 50% HP. Or sometimes people did 60 or 70% HP. Then go back to your Hydrix or Onyx or if you're camping it, for instance. So I think this is a good change. I think how it was in beta, where like if they procced 30k, 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 that was broken. So I think I like this a lot more. I think this makes a lot of sense. I think with this change too, I think Blight bounds like tier 92 crossbows. I think they're going to be a lot more viable now because of this change. So that's pretty exciting. I don't know. Do I even have blight bounds? I do have blight bounds. I'm not sure if they're perked. I might test that out too. It's pretty interesting. Anticipation. They reverted the off global clone anticipation changes. Um, so they might revert this once they give players ability that replaces how. Wait. Once we're able to give players an ability that replaces how the functionality they're using anticipate for in live game. Yeah. So they might make a variant of anticipation. So I like this, but yeah, I agree. I didn't like the global cooldown change of it, where you had to like you just lost an ability to use adrenaline. So we'll see what happens. I don't have an issue with this. I'm kind of like whatever with this. Magma Tempest got buffed, but like for the wrong reason. I would say they're only buffing it because the combat savvy players, aka the four tickers or macros, I guess, oh, they lost damage and don't use magma tempest. Well, it's already strong, but they're like, oh well, they're not doing as much damage, so we went above it. Then they're like, we're wary of adding too much power here, as a large portion of players that were using normal magma cast are essentially gaining free damage with this change. They're already saying that most people are using this normally, and it's like we shouldn't be balancing around these people who are just four ticking. Because again, the combat beta originally had four ticking removed. Are we putting it back? I don't know. I don't know whether they're ever going to remove. Sorry, I'm not sure when they're going to remove four ticking because no one likes it. There's too many systems in the game that like four ticking was just there because there was nothing interesting to do. There's plenty of interesting things to do now. It just doesn't make sense to say these two statements where the four tickers lost damage, but it was already doing so much damage for most players, so we need to be wary. Like that doesn't make any sense to say the two things at the same time. Like I don't know. I think it's already strong. I mean, I could even say it needed a buff anyway. Like I'll be honest. I think this statement is pointless. I think it should have just been, you know what, Magic's kind of and because the critical strike changes, we want to back buff Magma Tempest. I think they're buffing this for the wrong reason. I actually think this should be buffed because again, it's from Zuck. It's a codex. It probably should be expensive. Like it's not mandatory, but it should be a cool, impactful ability. But I just don't like that the reasons they're doing it just seem wrong. You know. So special attack damage. So big changes on some big special attacks. Reduce the number of damage number on a number of special attacks. So Dragon Claws did 40% damage. Now it's 360% damage. Dark Bow was 240% damage per shot, obviously. Now it's 210% damage per shot. Bow Last Guardian, Balance of Force. Average damage was 275%. Now it's 200%. That's a big nerf with that. Bow Last Guardian, Peak Perfect Equilibrium was 10% ability damage plus 35% of previous. Now it's 12% plus 30% of previous. So it's mostly to buff whatchamacallit. It reduces the if you use like a dark bow or a bow last guardian, it will do a little bit less damage. But if you are using like Great Ricochet and your Bow Last Guardian procs, you'll do a little bit more. It's mostly to hurt the high end a little bit more. The big nerf, honestly, was like Dragon Claws is really overpowered, so this being nerfed is pretty huge. I think this also makes maybe Armor Godsword more viable because Dragon Claws was hitting easily above 30k, so that's pretty good that they toned down Dragon Claws. Dark Bow is just really OP. With this change plus the adrenaline cost, I wonder how range is doing. Bolas Guardian Balance of Force. This nerf is just ginormous because this thing was really cheap and this was like really strong. Like even if you didn't have EUFs, if you just used Bolas Guardian every time you had 3 stacks, you just like I think of Warcath I would do like 15k and then like a 28k because I think it still is based on your previous hit. I thought they adjusted that, but I guess they didn't. But whenever I use a special of Warcath in the beta, it was hitting 15k, 28k, 14k, 26k. So this is a big nerf to the Bolas Guardian, because it was like the highest hitting single hit ability. Like it was even higher than Dark Bow. Now it's like similar to Dark Bow actually, which is kind of interesting. Saren Gabo, I'm not sure if this is actually a nerf. All it says is average damage is 140% per shot. I'm not sure if that got changed. I'm assuming no. Initial shot always targets the center of the NPC. I thought this was already like this, so I'm kind of confused on why it says that. Subsequent shots target tiles within a 5x5 area around the center. This means that 5x5 enemies will always be hit 5 times. I'm not sure if this applies to like Zamrak, because Zamrak are 5x5. I thought this was already how it was. I swear that I've already seen this before, like years ago. I don't know. They don't really give context, which I kind of don't like. Bolas Guardian, this is the big change I don't like at all. Perfect equilibrium buff no longer turns red when it's primed. I don't like that. I actually really like that change. It was on the front, and yeah, I can look at that number, but like when I saw that red, I'm like, okay, I'm ready to use my big special. Like because sometimes like what if you splash, the hit won't count if you although splash is not an issue anymore, I will say. But what if I don't know, you just lost count and like, oh, is that a 6 or a 7? Like now you like scrunch your eyes and be like, how many stacks do I have? I really like this change. I hope they kind of put a toggle because they say it was visual noise. I don't agree. I think it was clarity. Like it's almost like saying like with I don't know what's a champion. There's plenty of champions in the league where you use an ability and then you have to recast it, but the icon changes, and it's almost like like it's just a show. It's like, oh, it's ready to cast. It's a different there's something about to happen if you do something, which makes sense. Visual noise. It sounds like someone complained to some JMod, some probably boomer, honestly, and was like, bro, I don't like this because it's not what it was before. Like that's literally what they probably said and reverted it. I don't agree with that. I actually think this was really good of a change. I don't like this at all. I'm gonna test that beta. I'm probably not gonna like it though. I really like this change. It's kind of it's I think it's really dumb that they did that. It's the buff is hidden when leaving combat. Okay, I guess that doesn't really matter. Balance by Force now uses the same prioritize as perfect equilibrium. They'll appear next to each other on the buff bar. So yeah, the how long you have like there's a 30-second timer of the Last Guardian. So that's a good change. I just don't agree with this change. I this visual noise, bro. You guys don't know how to design a game if you're gonna say that's visual noise. You don't know anything. I'm sorry. PvP damage, bro. Who cares? They just reduce damage. Who PvPs in this game? Like, you guys need to reduce damage a lot more by that. By the way, melee hit timings. Um, so they did some changes to melee and they want to revert some abilities. So Tuska's Wrath now, Tuska's Wrath hits one cycle faster. Quake hits one cycle slower. Overpower hits one cycle slower. I will say, Overpower. Who uses Overpower? No one uses Overpower. What? That's very interesting. Um, the Quake change is interesting because I kind of liked how it was instant, but there is some pros to delayed abilities, such as even snipe, because especially in the combat beta, because now when you're doing runes, uh, if your ability goes off right away, the rune might instantly die, and then Zamorak's gonna do his big damage now. However, if you use like Quake, if it's delayed, the damage is delayed, then you can actually use abilities and get the Zamorak faster instead of like, okay, I'm gonna use this ability and it was gonna instantly die. Instead, you need to wait for a global cooldown. So like, I kind of didn't think about that too. Snipe might have a use in terms of like doing the runes if you want to have your abilities up, especially due to the global cooldown changes. So I need to keep that in mind. Vine Whip they changed. Remove the poison based special attack. Reinstate the area effect special attack. I'll be honest, I don't even know what this thing does. The only use I know about this in the entire game is for Zamorak with one cycling with melee. Because people use this, like there's a way to use this special and I think it hits a lot or from a distance or without you even hitting, and it won't break Greater Barge and it'll kill the rune. That's what people were using this for. I have no idea what else use this has. If you know, tell me in the comments. That's the only use I saw. I'm not sure how good the poison based special attack was. I don't know. I mean, it would apply a bleed stack, so you would actually get more healing from, or not healing, more adrenaline from the Mask of the Abyss. I don't know about Mask of the Abyss. I don't know. Jaws of the Abyss. Sorry. So I didn't really get to test this because I don't really like poison bosses. I feel like it might have been more appreciated if they actually reworked poison and made poison builds a thing. Again, it probably just did so. It was probably comparable to Dismember, which costs no adrenaline and gets you adrenaline. That wasn't worth using, which is why no one used it. So I don't know. I don't have a really big issue with this, but yeah, it's whatever. Leg swords. So these are pretty good changes. So I believe they reduced. I'm not sure. Again, they don't say if this actually got changed. Um, so they do say that the proc was too consistent. So I don't know if this got reduced, but the tier 95 main hand is now 70% chance to apply a primordial stack. With the offhand is 3%, so now it's 10%. I think this was nerfed. I swear this was 12 or 14% chance total. I might be wrong, but I think so. And now when you get a stack of the icy primordial ice stacks, you no longer get the 5% adrenaline. But it's kind of a bummer. I kind of like that, but yeah, it's kind of what happens when they keep on making all this Switchscape stuff. I kind of would have liked it if they just reworked Jaws of the Abyss, and yeah, I would just rework Jaws of the Abyss. I don't like how it's just like a Switch and stuff. Um, Tier 85 can now have the Icy Tempest special attack. I like this a lot. Again, this only helps lower level players. The only other thing it might help is, I guess, EOFs. If you want to put this special in the EOF, I guess. Frostblade's damage was 12% 80. Now it's 24% 80. Um, I believe this ability is when it procs for the next like 9 seconds, or 12 seconds. It's 9 to 12 seconds. You would deal an additional 12% ability damage per hit. Now it's 4% ability damage on it. That's a lot more damage. Special attack, Icy Tempest main hit damage was increased from 100% to 110% ability damage. Icy Tempest area effect damage was increased from 155% to 165%. And the big change is Icy Tempest now applies this bonus damage to the primary target on both hits. Because I was noticing some funky stuff. It's like you read it and you would see a 30k in Zerk, but then it would just be like an 8k. So now I think you're going to see a 30k 30k or a 30k 20k when you use this special in Zerk, or even with Chaos Sword. So big buff the Link Swords overall, I think. So that's pretty good. Action bar text reverted the font for keybind text to match live game. I think it's fine because I don't think I like that much. Again, maybe toggle. Reverted position of ability cooldown information back to the top right to match the live game. I don't know what it was before. I don't even know what that means, to be honest. Combat dummies update max hit mode to guarantee critical strikes. I don't really care. The midi mines were doing 30,000 damage or one-shotting roots and are reduced back to 10,000. That's kind of funny. Reinstated the Elder's Crossbow's auto attack. I don't know what that means. Does that just mean when you cast Elder's Crossbow, you can now auto attack? I mean, you could already do that. I'm not sure if it. I don't know what that means. I actually don't. Because I even test that in beta. I have no idea what that means. Some bugs with wrong icons. Great Ricochet wasn't applying on hit effects, so I think an issue was. I'm not even sure if it applies to arrows or blights, but that was a bug. Exakill's bleed average damage increased from 65% of the damage to 67.5% of the damage of the initial hit, I think. Fixed the issue where channel abilities were being cancelled when moving northwest of the target. It's kind of funny they say incorrectly cancelled. Like, they should be cancelled, but they were I don't know. That's kind of weird. Vestments of Havoc increased adrenaline no longer works for with non-melee styles. I'm not sure what that means. I'm assuming some people were bringing a full set for 120% adrenaline with Death Witness, and then have like 40% adrenaline left. Again, this is a macro thing. Like, so yeah, that's good they fixed that. But yeah, that was just macro. That's pretty much it. Again, I'm gonna go test this. I don't like the Last Guardian change. I kind of wish they just reworked this to make it something more fun. Just have fun. Like this is a great time to like. I don't know. They just need to have more fun. Honestly, just yeah. Bye.